The Battle of the Granicus, fought in May 334 BCE, marked Alexander the Great's first major engagement against the Persian Achaemenid Empire. This victory set the stage for his subsequent conquests across Asia Minor. Hi there, I'm Kyle, the host of History of Human Evolution. With a PhD in history and a love for storytelling, I'm here to guide you through the fascinating journey of our species. If you like to explore the past, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share your thoughts below. The year is 334 BCE. The sun sets over the Hellespont, casting its fading glow over the waters that separate Europe from Asia. On one side lies the kingdom of Macedon, newly ascendant under the rule of a young and ambitious king. On the other, the vast Persian Empire, an ancient colossus stretching from the Aegean to the Industry. The two worlds are on the verge of collision. At their head, Alexander III of Macedon, just 22 years old, prepares to cross into Asia, an invasion that will set history on an irreversible course. Alexander's army, hardened by years of campaigns under his father, Philip II, gathers at the shore. It is a force of remarkable discipline, precision, and innovation. 32,000 infantry in tight phalanxes, their sarissas, the long Macedonian spears, glinting in the light, and 5,000 cavalry, among them the elite companion cavalry, the finest horsemen of the age. They are not alone. Allied Greeks, bound by the Corinthian League, march alongside the Macedonians, driven by their own enmity toward Persia, a foe that had once burned Athens to the ground. They cross the Hellespont unopposed, landing on Asian soil at the site of ancient Troy, a symbolic act that Alexander seizes upon. He makes a sacrifice at the tomb of Achilles, his legendary ancestor, and takes up a shield from the ruins. The message is clear. This campaign is not merely a war of conquest. It is a clash of civilizations, a test of kings. Meanwhile, across Asia Minor, the Persian satraps convene in the city of Zelia. Word of the Macedonian incursion spreads quickly, and the regional governors, wary of the threat, summon their forces. Among them are Arcides, satrap of Hellespontine Phrygia, and Spithridates, the Persian governor of Lydia and Ionia. With them stand the Persian cavalry, superior in numbers and highly skilled, as well as Greek mercenaries, battle-hardened soldiers who had once fought for the very city-states Alexander now leads. They deliberate on their next course of action. It is at this council that a dissenting voice is heard, that of Memnon of Rhodes, a Greek commander in Persian service. He urges caution, warning that the Macedonians, though formidable, are vulnerable so far from home. He proposes a strategy of retreat and attrition, to scorch the land before them, to cut off their supplies, to force them into a long and unsustainable campaign. But his counsel is rejected. The satraps, unwilling to see their lands devastated and overconfident in their cavalry, opt for immediate battle. They will meet Alexander at the Granicus River, where they believe the terrain will favor them. The stage is set. Alexander's army advances inland, moving swiftly through the plains of Asia Minor. Scouts report Persian forces gathered ahead, positioned along the banks of the Granicus. The first major engagement of the campaign is imminent. Alexander, impatient for battle, calls his generals. His mind is set. The enemy is near, and the war for Asia is about to begin. The Granicus River flows swiftly under the early summer sun, its banks steep and uneven. The Persians have chosen their ground carefully. Lined along the eastern side of the river, their forces are drawn up in a display of strength and confidence. At the forefront stands their cavalry, the backbone of Persian warfare, arrayed in tight formations, the hooves of their horses stirring up dust as they shift in anticipation. The Persian commanders, led by Arcides and Spithridates, have placed their best horsemen along the edge of the river, intending to meet the Macedonians the moment they attempt to cross. Behind them, standing in disciplined ranks, is a formidable contingent of Greek mercenaries, infantry hired by the Persian satraps to serve as a defensive corps. The Greek mercenaries are not raw recruits. They are veterans of previous conflicts, men who had once fought under Spartan and Athenian banners. Now, their shields and spears form an imposing line, a solid wall meant to absorb the impact of any Macedonian advance. But for now, they wait. It is the cavalry that will engage first, that will attempt to crush Alexander's forces before they can establish a foothold across the river. On the opposite bank, the Macedonian army stands in disciplined silence. The infantry, formed in the tight-knit phalanx that had carried Philip II to victory years before, remain steady in the center. Their shields are locked, their long sarissas, some reaching over 16 feet, angled toward the sky. But they are not the first to advance. Alexander's attention is on his cavalry, the force that will decide the battle. To his right, positioned near the river's edge, are his elite companions, the heavy cavalry that he himself leads. These are not mere riders. They are the spearhead of his strategy, heavily armed, highly trained, and bound by unwavering loyalty. The men at his side include some of his closest commanders, Clitus the Black, Hephaestion, and Philotas. The left flank is commanded by Parmenion, an experienced general whose role is to engage and pressure the Persian line while Alexander strikes decisively elsewhere. The terrain is challenging. The river is not deep, but its current is strong, and its banks are uneven. Crossing under fire will be perilous. The Persian cavalry stands at the ready, prepared to charge at the first sign of movement. But Alexander does not hesitate. The formation is set. The moment is near. The first clash of the campaign is about to erupt. The silence is brief. With a swift command, Alexander orders his cavalry forward. The first wave belongs to Amyntas, son of Arabius, leading a contingent of light cavalry on the left. They surge into the river, hooves kicking up water and mud as they splash toward the Persian lines. It is a feint, meant to draw the enemy's attention. The Persians respond immediately. Their front ranks of cavalry break formation and charge down the bank, meeting the attackers head-on before they can establish footing on the far side. Swords clash, and the water churns red. But Alexander has no intention of engaging in a prolonged skirmish. While the initial attack holds the Persian left occupied, he takes the companions and moves toward the right, scanning for the moment to strike. His target is the Persian center, where several commanders, including Spithridates and Mithridates, lead the strongest cavalry units. With a swift signal, Alexander spurs his horse forward. The companion cavalry follows, surging into the river at full speed. The charge is ferocious. The Macedonians drive through the current, shields up to deflect incoming missiles. Javelins and arrows whistle through the air, striking shields, armor, and flesh. As the first riders climb onto the far bank, the Persians crash into them with devastating force. The initial clash is brutal. Lances shatter, horses rear, and the narrow space turns into a swirling melee. In the thick of the fighting, Alexander presses forward. He cuts through the chaos, striking down enemies as he forces a gap in the Persian line. But the Persian commanders see him. Mithridates, son-in-law of Darius III, charges at him, weapon raised. Alexander meets him head-on, thrusting his spear into Mithridates' face, killing him instantly. Blood spills across the battlefield, but the danger is not over. Spithridates spots the young king in the midst of the fighting. From behind, he raises his weapon, aiming for a fatal strike. Alexander does not see him, but Clitus the Black does. In a decisive moment, Clitus swings his sword, severing Spithridates' arm before the blow can land. The Persian commander falls, his body trampled beneath the surge of men and horses. The battle shifts. The Persian cavalry, now leaderless and disorganized, begins to break. The Macedonians press their advantage, forcing them back. Meanwhile, the Greek mercenaries, still in reserve, attempt to regroup, hoping to stem the tide of defeat. But Alexander does not grant them the opportunity. His forces cut them down, refusing quarter. The riverbank is littered with bodies, the water thick with blood. The Persian army collapses. The Macedonian phalanx advances steadily, sweeping aside any resistance that remains. The battle is over. The Persians retreat, their commanders slain, their forces shattered. Asia Minor is now open to the Macedonian king. The battlefield is silent. The Persian dead lie scattered across the banks of the Granicus, their armor shattered, their weapons abandoned. The river, once a natural boundary between two great powers, now serves as a marker of defeat. Among the fallen are the Persian commanders. Arsaces, the satrap of Hellespontine Phrygia, has fled, only to take his own life in disgrace. Spithridates, Mithridates, and countless other high-ranking officers lie dead where they stood. The Greek mercenaries, who had placed their faith in Persian gold, have fared no better. Alexander offers no mercy. Those who remain are cut down where they stand, a clear message to any Greeks who might consider fighting for the Persian king. For Alexander, the battle is more than a military victory. It is the first proof of his superiority over the Achaemenid Empire. His losses are minimal, fewer than 120 men, while thousands of Persian troops lie dead. But beyond the numbers, the psychological impact is immense. The Persian satraps, once confident in their cavalry strength, have been shattered by a force that was supposed to be inferior in numbers and position. News of the battle spreads quickly, and the cities of Asia Minor take note. Some, unwilling to risk the wrath of the advancing Macedonians, open their gates without resistance. Sardis, the Persian administrative center of western Anatolia, capitulates almost immediately. Ephesus, Miletus, and Halicarnassus follow in quick succession. Alexander, ever the strategist, moves to secure his newly won territories. His policy is calculated. Persian administrators are removed, but Greek customs and religious traditions are respected. In cities with strong democratic leanings, he reestablishes local governance, presenting himself not as a conqueror, but as a liberator. This careful balance of force and diplomacy ensures that Asia Minor does not rise against him in rebellion. The battle also marks a shift in Greek perception. Before Granicus, many had seen Alexander as merely Philip's heir, an ambitious young king attempting to continue his father's work. Now, they see something more. The victory at Granicus proves his military genius, his willingness to lead from the front, and his capacity to defeat an empire that had loomed over Greece for generations. Even those who had doubted him in Macedonia and Athens begin to reconsider. For Darius III, the implications are clear. The Macedonian invasion is no minor raid, no temporary disruption. Alexander is a genuine threat to Persian supremacy. But the great king is not yet ready to act. For now, he underestimates the young conqueror. He does not mobilize the full strength of his empire, nor does he personally intervene. He will wait, believing that another army, better prepared, will be able to stop the invader. But Alexander has no intention of slowing down. Granicus is only the beginning. The road to the heart of Persia has been opened, and nothing will stand in his way. For centuries, the exact location of the Battle of the Granicus remained uncertain. Ancient sources placed it along the banks of the Granicus River, but the shifting course of waterways and the changing landscape of northwestern Turkey left historians and archaeologists searching for definitive proof. The accounts of Arrian, Plutarch, and Diodorus provided descriptions of the terrain and the movements of the armies, yet without physical evidence, the battlefield remained elusive. That changed in late 2024 when a team of Turkish archaeologists, led by Professor Reyhan Korpi, announced a major breakthrough. Using satellite imaging, soil analysis, and topographical mapping, they identified a site along the modern Baiga River, believed to be the ancient Granicus, where traces of battle formations and weapon fragments were uncovered. Among the discoveries were bronze spearheads, iron sword fragments, and remnants of armor, all dating to the late 4th century BCE. Further excavation revealed evidence of a mass grave, likely the final resting place of Persian and Greek mercenary troops who fell during the battle. The skeletal remains bore signs of trauma consistent with combat: deep slashes, crushed bone from blunt force trauma, and embedded arrowheads. These findings align with the descriptions given by ancient historians, particularly Arrian, who wrote of the Macedonian slaughter of Greek mercenaries after the Persian cavalry was routed. The discovery has prompted renewed efforts to preserve the battlefield. Turkish officials, in collaboration with historical organizations, have initiated plans to designate the site as part of the Alexander the Great Cultural Route project, linking key locations from his campaign in Asia Minor. This project aims not only to protect the site, but also to provide historical context, allowing visitors to stand where one of antiquity's defining battles took place. For archaeologists and historians, the significance of the find extends beyond physical artifacts. It provides a clearer understanding of how the battle unfolded, confirming aspects of ancient accounts while offering new insights into the logistical and tactical challenges of the engagement. The steep riverbanks, once dismissed as an exaggeration by some scholars, now appear to have played a crucial role in shaping the battle's outcome. The arrangement of discovered weapons suggests a chaotic engagement at the river's edge, supporting the accounts of the Macedonian cavalry's daring charge against the Persian front. While much remains to be analyzed, the findings mark one of the most significant battlefield discoveries in recent decades. The site of Alexander's first great victory is no longer just a historical narrative. It is a tangible piece of the past, uncovered after more than 2 millennia. We'd love to hear your thoughts on possible future topics. What areas of human evolution would you like to explore next? Leave your suggestions in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. As always, our references and further reading are listed in the description below if you'd like to dive deeper into the subject. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.